the land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date, 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue, Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk.
We will listen.
We will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.
Good afternoon and welcome to Leadership Dialogue on LJE. My name is Omoyeni Ojeifu. Now, Leadership Dialogue is a program on leadership hub, justice and economic advancement, where we engage thought leaders and change makers on critical issues shaping our society and how to prefer solutions to these issues. Today, we'll focus on the much anticipated national conference on addressing the root cause of the herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue, organized by the Leadership Hub, Justice and Economic Advancement, LJE. The event, which is set to hold from September 30th to October 1st at the Shehu Yaradua Center, Abuja, promises to be a pivotal moment in Nigeria's quest for lasting peace and food security. Joining me is the president of the LJE, Barrister Samuel Meme, who will give us an update on the preparations and what Nigerians should expect from the conference. Mr. President, you're welcome to Leadership Dialogue.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, viewers.
Yes, you're welcome. Now, the herders-farmers crisis has remained one of the most complex national issues. So can you tell us what inspired the LJE to convene this national conference and what is the overall goal of this conference?
Thank you very much for having me once again.
You're welcome once more.
As passionate Nigerians, of course, you know, one of the goals for this organization is to see a viable economy for Nigeria. And we are very much concerned, just like every other Nigerians are concerned about the situation we find ourselves in this country. Nigerians have been molested from all angles, from the insecurity to food security, from lack of social amenities, education, everything you can think about that makes life unbearable for average citizens of this country is what we are all suffering here. But we have looked at critically one very important aspect, which has to do with this farmers' herders crisis. Now, in the past, this crisis has, of course, continued over the years. No one has always summoned courage to look at this issue. We know there are quite a number of persons who are letting their voices show some level of concern about what is going on. But when you look at it critically, you find out that it's becoming unbearable for us to continue on the path that we have always continued over the years. And unfortunately, some persons will say this is an area that appears to be somehow an area that people should avoid because of the kind of people that are involved in cattle rearing and the rest of them. And it is not possible for us to shy away from the reality. As Nigerians and as a people, for us, many people would have really loved to go into farming, as we know. And this issue about the open grazing, or whether you call it farmers' herders intimidation or intimidating the farmers is one issue that Nigerians government and the Nigerians also should really look into to find a lasting solution. And of course, these are the reasons why we decided to come up with this conference, bringing all critical stakeholders. But before this conference, we have been advocating, for a change. Unfortunately, this call has not really yielded results, and we felt it is necessary for us to call all the critical stakeholders for us to have a dialogue so that we can hear from all sides and, of course, then find a lasting solution. The aim of this conference is to see how we can put an end by bringing solution to the headers. All right? Because it is inevitable at this time of our nationhood that open grazing is no longer sustainable. It is killing the economy, it is killing Nigerians, and it is forcing us into poverty. Those who are in the rural areas, naturally, what they are used to is farming. But they can't go to farm anymore. So we are very much concerned, and we feel this is very important, and we know this is very important for us to move forward as a people.
Okay. So I see that the conference is just a few days away, and I know preparations are in top gear. Can you walk us through some of the key stakeholders, speakers, and what participants of this conference should expect?
Yeah, absolutely. This conference is just a few days from now, and about 6 days from now, we have critically, scrutinized the kind of persons we want in this conference. We have also given the general public opportunity to register to attend. We have invited the critical stakeholders, particularly the security agencies, for them to come and witness the conference. We have invited the farmers associations, and we have also invited private farmers as well. We invited the cattle rearers, the cattle owners, the cattle associations, the breeders associations, the Mieti Allah, and the rest of them. We have also invited the general public. We have invited the academians. We have invited the government, the state government, the federal government, and the local government, as it were. We invited the commissioners of agriculture, because we have had interface with the commissioners of agriculture of various states, trying to understand what their plans are, what they are doing to help their states. We have met with a couple of them, and the reasons that some of the options that they actually narrated to us does not really suit the sustainability of Nigerian agricultural sector, because some of them don't really even have a clear understanding on how they should go. We understand that some of them are political office holders. They are appointed to hold those ministries, and under their watch, people cannot go to farm. So why do you have Ministry of Agriculture and the governments do not even own farmland, and the people cannot go to farm, and you have Ministry of Agriculture, and now we have Ministry of Livestock.
Yes.
So the Ministry of Livestock, Ministry of Agriculture, they must work in synergy to understand that, look, for the livestock, there is a method through which these guys that are into this business should be able to run their business. For the farmers, they should be able to understand a clear understanding how they should run their business. We cannot run a system where we are now beginning to depend on food or food items brought in from other countries. It is not sustainable. It is a very challenging situation, and we must nip it at this point in time.
Okay, so Barrister, can you tell us some of the challenges you faced in your preparation thus far? If there is any, can you run us through?
Well, the challenges are quite huge, honestly, because for such a conference, you are bringing in critical stakeholders from different parts of the country. Finance is one of the things, but we are not bothered. As an organization, we've been able to put our heads together to see how we can, adjust ourselves. We have our venue already. We have spread out invitation across board. We've done all the necessary things we needed to do, publicity and all of those things, to bring in critical stakeholders to attend and also to lend their voice. And whatever be the outcome of this conference in terms of suggestions, would also make it available to the implementation agencies of government.
Okay, that's nice. This is the Leadership Dialogue. We'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back shortly.
the land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk,
We will listen.
we will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.
Welcome back to Leadership Dialogue on LJE. We have in the studio the president of LJE, Barrister Samuel Meme, in the studio, and he's telling us how prepared the LJE is to tackle the root causes of herdsmen-farmers conflicts in Nigeria. So, sir, this is a very big question, actually. As Nigerians, we've seen several attempts in the past to resolve this crisis without much success. What makes this conference a different one?
Well, this conference is at the heart of advocacy.
Okay.
So it is different from the regular talk show. It's at the heart of advocacy for the radical change that we need in these aspects. Because beyond this conference, we are going to be mobilizing Nigerians generally to address this issue. So this conference, like I said, there have been advocacy ongoing before now, but after this conference is going to give more life to the advocacy.
Yes.
And we hope that we don't need to go into a long time advocacy before we get the result that we need, because we are speaking to the heart of Nigerians. We are speaking to the heart of the government of Nigeria. The solutions that we need to move our life forward is right before us. So it's a matter of the government listening to say, look, there is no point for us to worship cattle, right? There is no point that we should worship cattle. God forbid that we should worship cattle in this country. So what we need to do is to realize, like I said, and I will say it again, I have never seen cattle owned by federal government. I've never seen cattle owned by state government. I've never seen cattle owned by local government. I've never seen cattle owned by the judiciary. I've never seen cattle owned by the legislative arm of government. I've never seen cattle owned by the executive arm of various ties of government. We have never seen cattle owned by even the, I don't know how to really put it, but cattle are owned by private individuals.
Yes.
So why should we allow cattle to continue to disrupt a major critical aspect of our economy? A major critical aspect of our economy, such as agriculture. At a point in this country, Nigeria was exporting agricultural products out of this country. But today, we are now importing yam, where the Benue State used to be the food basket of the nation. But today, Benue State is a shadow of itself, just because of few people that own cattle and they're moving their cattle from one place to another.
I don't want them to farm.
This has nothing to do with tribalism, like I always say. This has nothing to do with ethnicity. This has nothing to do with a section of this country.
Okay.
This country belongs to all of us. There are farmers in the north. There are herders in the north. There are farmers in the south. And there are herders in the south. There are farmers all part of this country. There are herders all part of this country. There are cattle owners all part of this country. It is time for Nigeria to rise up All Nigerians must rise up to say enough is enough of this madness. Because what we see in this country is madness. Madness with cattle. Madness with cattle moving from one place to another, or causing traffic, destroying livelihood of people, killing people because of cattle. It is no longer sustainable in this country, and we must rise up to stand up for what is right. And I hope, and I believe, strongly believe, that the presidency, the federal government, the various state governments should understand that these are private businesses owned by individuals, and it is not proper for you to allow people who own their private business to destroy another set of people's legitimate private businesses. No. Some of us would like to go into farming. We cannot go into farming because of threat of destruction of our crops and properties. So the government must create an enabling environment for every one of us who wish to go into agricultural business to have our access to go into agricultural business, except that the government want to provide police security to protect our farmlands. And this is going to cost us more.
Yes.
So the what we are calling for is total restriction of movement of cattle in Nigeria. Okay. We must recognize that these people are private owners, like I keep saying. So they should acquire their lands, keep their cattle in one place, provide an enabling environment for them to breed their cattle. At the end of the day, they should make a proper documentary of, just like an average business owner does their business.
Yes.
You put your total cost of rearing your cattle and place a price tag. If you are able to buy, or any person is able to buy their cattle, they will buy the cattle. There's no point destroying this country because of cattle. We are having enough pains in this country. And I can tell you, if the president can listen to me, that the very day the president declare restriction of movement of cattle in this country, that is the day he will be happy that he became the president of Nigeria. Because automatically there will be food security, automatically there will be creation of job. The government does not need to create job. Once he declare restriction of movement of cattle, all they need to do is to set up mechanism for implementation. And once they're able to implement it, these guys have what it takes to acquire land. They have what it takes to rent land. They don't need to move their cattle from one place to another. And that is what we are looking forward. The solution is very close to us. And I know that on the 30th of September, we are going to have a solution. Then we'll now begin to implement the solution.
Okay. I hope this message gets to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, so you've mentioned the role of the government. What role do you think traditional leaders, farmers associations, and herdsmen group can play in curbing this menace in the society?
What they need is cooperation.
Okay.
What they need is cooperation, because they need to cooperate with the policy that should be implemented by the government.
Okay.
The cattle rearers, the cattle owners, what they need to do right now is for them to begin to adjust their tactics, their method of operandi. And they need to understand that, look, I am a businessman and I own these cattle. What is the best way for me to breed my cattle? That is what they should be thinking about right now, without necessarily relying on, nobody provided money to them to acquire their cattle. Nobody provided money for the cattle owners to acquire their cattle. You have your branches in business. So acquire your land, rent your land through the traditional rulers or through any other private individuals. Then you keep it there. Keep your cattle there. Build your cattle, employ people, put a price tag on your cattle, stop destroying people's business, stop destroying people's land, simply because you are a cattle rearer. Does it now mean that because you are a cattle rearer, you now have immunity to destroy lives and properties? No. They should not tell us that there is a grazing route that they are going to protect the cattle from destroying farmlands. No.
So there's no way
it will not work.
Okay.
That generally cannot work in these circumstances, because we see that nobody can police them. The best thing is to restrict it,
Yes.
restrict the movement entirely. Wherever they find, they say they should stop there. They should stop there and follow the procedure. For the traditional rulers must take responsibility, because I know that part of the policy that we are going to recommend to the government, because the government has a responsibility to protect lives and properties and to govern the nation. So the traditional rulers will definitely work with the local government and the local community to provide method of security for the local communities, because we know that this is not an easy role. We know that some people will not be so happy because of all of these things. There might be a reprisal attack, and all the suggestions we will bring down on the day of the dialogue will definitely be holistic and will cover up all angles for protection, for implementation, and for us to have lasting peace in our community, particularly in our core villages and the core communities
that are affected. So what message do you have for Nigerians, especially those that are directly affected by this conflict, as the conference approaches?
The message I have for Nigerians is for Nigerians to be resilient.
Okay.
Nigerians should know that the time has come for us to join our voices together, that we cannot worship cattle in Nigeria. It is not possible. We have never worshipped cattle in this country in the past. The days are over. Nigerians must begin to know that this is a clarion call, that the bushes are the area, are the places where we can produce the food that we consume as a people, which is the farmland. So those Nigerians who are interested in farm, they should begin to gear themselves up so that they can go back to farm. Because after this conference, we are going to go into full-scale implementation. We are not waiting for anybody. We are going to take back our land. The law is very clear. There is a law that has to do with malicious damage. What you see going on in this country by the cattle rearers is malicious damage against the farmlands. All right? Yeah. Against the farmland. All lands are owned by people. So if you cannot be taking your cattle by criminal trespass, moving from one place to another, destroying livelihood, but that belongs to the past. We must forgive ourselves. We must forgive ourselves for what has happened in the past. We must heal our wounds. Then we must begin to take charge to say, from today henceforth, we are now in a new beginning. Nigerians should go back to farm. Nigerians should take back their community. The farmers should take back their farmlands. The cattle rearers should begin to look for space or places where they can breed their cattle. They should stop moving their cattle from one place to another. We will not tolerate it. Nigerians will not tolerate it. We will not tolerate movement of cattle in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Barrister Samuel Meme, the president of LJE Nigeria, for sharing this thoughtful insights and updates with us. It is clear that the conference is not just about discussing problems, but charting a new course for peace, justice, and economic advancement. To our viewers, remember the National Conference holds from September 30th to 1st October at the Shehu Yaraduwa Center, Abuja, and the theme is addressing the root cause of herdsmen farmers crisis through justice and inclusive dialogue. Stay tuned for coverage and outcomes that will hopefully shape a more peaceful and better Nigeria. Thanks for joining us on Leadership Dialogues today. I am Omoyeni Ojeifu.
The land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date, 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue, Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk,
We will listen.
we will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.